Self-driving cars have been popping up across the country, but soon we could see self-driving shuttles locally. Plus, an Athens building has a new historical status. And in sports, Ohio is looking forward to UC after its disappointing loss this past weekend. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Good evening, I'm Caitlin Coolidge. Thank you for joining us. The Ohio Inspector General says Ohio University didn't violate any laws in the presidential residence lease. However, the IG reports the lease of 31 Coventry Lane from local developer and OU donor John Wharton did create reasonable appearance for impropriety. It also found the university did not follow the lease agreement when it paid Wharton's company for work on the house. University General Counsel John Bjackenmore says the investigation and internal review of the matter has led to some positive outcomes. He says this has provided us an opportunity for us to talk and re-examine our process and talk about it more. And there is a new historical building in town. Its name is the Stumac Building. The Athens City Council passed an ordinance last night designating the Stuart McDonald Building a local historical designation. The designation is a part of a larger process for the guitar supply company Stumac to renovate the building. The city will pursue state and federal tax credits related to the historical designation to offset the renovation costs. Sarah Mars Maxfield, the executive director of the Athens County Economic Development Council, said both the city and its residents are excited about the designation and renovation plans.
Everybody recognizes this building as a landmark building and an anchor tenant on the west side, and it's been around for years. Everybody knows it because Miller's Chicken is located in it, and so people are really excited that it's going to be renovated.
Stuart McDonald Manufacturing was located there for decades, purchased the building earlier this year. Major changes might be coming to parking in uptown Athens. As part of process rate increases, what are considered high-intensity zones would cost $1 per hour, moderate zones would cost 75 cents per hour, and low zones would cost 50 cents per hour. The proposed ordinance also aims to change the hours of free parking uptown from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Roads in Athens will get an upgrade this week. The paving schedule is part of the city's 2018 street improvement project. West Green Drive and West Oxbow Trail will be paved tomorrow and Thursday. Spring Street and Madison Avenue to Franklin Avenue will be paved Thursday, and Northwood Drive and Columbia Avenue will be paved Friday. Parking will be not allowed on the streets while they are being paved. Traffic will be limited to one lane on the streets, but drivers are encouraged to avoid work areas. Athens, Ohio could potentially be home to self-driving buses with help from the Ohio Department of Transportation. Newswatch reporter Ben Schwartz has the story.
In a couple of years, buses in Athens might not be the only way to get around town. Self-driving shuttles could be coming to Athens.
If these are successful, I think this would be an amazing asset for Athens public transit, especially if it is migrating or moving through circulating through campus and into the uptown area, and possibly out through some of the denser neighborhoods in the around campus. I think it'd be a huge asset to have.
It's all thanks to the Ohio Department of Transportation's newest initiative, Drive Ohio, which is looking for locations to test self-driving vehicles.
We have some interesting challenges that Drive Ohio is very intrigued with. Roundabouts are interesting challenges for autonomous shuttles. It's always good when you've got a large number of signalized intersections, which we do, and some of the routes we're looking at have those.
Patterson says Athens' famous bricks are also a unique challenge that makes Athens an interesting test site. The city also has massive amounts of students who would benefit from more public transportation. The shuttles will hold around 6 to 8 people and will have a driver in them at all times during testing, with the ability to fully control the vehicle. And while fully driverless shuttles are at least 3 years down the road, it could be sooner rather than later, when you could see testing vehicles out and about in Athens.
As for now, Athens is still simply in the running to become a test city. An announcement should be expected within the next year saying when self-driving shuttles will be around town.
Welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm your forecaster Cameron Saliga here. As we look at the headlines, there are warmer temps that will be moving into the area in the next couple days, and then we'll see that humid stretch also occur in the area, and then we will start to see a cool down on the weekend with a couple rain chances for you in the forecast. Right now, it is 84 out there with some clouds, and it is humid with a west wind of 5 miles per hour. And we can check the temps outside around the region. 87 in Columbus, 86 in Newark, 83 in Jackson, and 81 in Ironton. This is very unseasonable for the time of year, as we should be seeing temperatures around the lower to mid 70s around this time of the year. And we will send it back to you at the desk, Caitlin.
Thanks, Cameron. Ohio Army National Guard members are not heading down to North Carolina anymore. Governor John Kasich announced an agreement to send members and equipment to help with Hurricane Florence recovery. The Guard members were going to provide refueling support for military helicopters. However, if they are needed, the Guard is ready to help. A prosecutor is asking for an execution date to be set for a man who killed 5 in a prison riot. Keith Lamar killed 5 fellow inmates at the Southern Ohio Correctional Institution in 1995. He received the death penalty for 4 of the killings. Special Prosecutor Mark Piepmeyer is asking for the date to be set because Lamar has exhausted his appeals. A manhunt since summer is now focusing on an Ohio county. It's where the authorities believe Sean Christie crashed a stolen car and fled the scene. Tracy Carlos has the story.
From the air and on the ground, about 100 federal, state, and local police have converged on Mansfield, canvassing wooded areas inch by inch.
We saw the helicopters out there and, just thought lock all the doors and, turn the alarm system on for sure. Keep the kids in.
This manhunt started last night when the Ohio Highway Patrol got a call from a driver who spotted a suspicious truck on the side of Interstate 71.
We looked to see if there's any type of individuals that are associated with that stolen vehicle, and that's where we came across this Sean Christie.
Sean Christie allegedly stole that truck from a business in Pennsylvania, and now authorities believe he is here in Richland County.
We're still working on some things like gathering CCTV from local businesses and dash cam video from anybody on patrol, but at this time we cannot confirm that he was linked to that vehicle at the time it went off.
He's been on the run since early this summer, evading capture.
Sean Christie actually is an FBI investigation out of Philadelphia. Apparently he has numerous threats against politicians, to include a recent threat against the president.
Now there is a massive manhunt to find him, a plea from his parents on Facebook to turn himself in. He calls himself a survivalist. Police are asking the public to pay attention.
There's one thing very distinct about him. He has a lisp when he speaks.
Classrooms empty, playgrounds vacant. Some schools, but not all, were closed because of the manhunt.
The neighbors, they kept their kids home from school as well, and I kept all my kids home from school, so definitely.
Just as a safety precaution.
Absolutely, yeah.
Federal authorities first issued a warrant from Christie's arrest on June 19th. His father told him on social media to turn himself into local authorities and not to trust U.S. Marshals. The lobby of a Fifth Third Bank in Cincinnati reopening a week after a gunman killed 3 people and injured 2 others. Employees held a memorial for their colleagues impacted by the deadly shooting. On the inside, each employee put their handprint of solidarity.
Act that divides us or was intended to invite us, we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to allow it to unite us and make us stronger.
Each signature and handprint will go into a Fifth Third Bank museum expected to be created nearby. Flooding got in the way of some food donations for hurricane victims. A truck with perishable foods made it from Lexington, Kentucky to the North Carolina border, but the roads were flooded, so the truck had to turn back. Officials say the food would have been bad if it was in the vehicle too long. The food was instead given to the Catholic Action Center. Judge Brett Kavanaugh is facing a new hearing next week. How this will affect his confirmation vote. And plus, the Hurricane Florence is not only bringing water, but other disasters. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Fall is going fast, but don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop, and every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall, which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you. And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage. So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell its story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
The next 6 days could be key for Judge Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination. Kavanaugh faces a newly scheduled Senate Judiciary Committee hearing next Monday. Christy Ford, a woman who accused him of sexually and physically assaulting her when they were teens, has also been invited to appear. Emily Schmidt details the political maneuvering behind the public or potentially private testimony.
This session is adjourned.
As the Senate Judiciary Committee looks to close the book on Brett Kavanaugh and forward his nomination, there's an unexpected chapter to be written with a hearing added next Monday.
Judge Kavanaugh is very anxious to do it, and a delay is certainly acceptable.
There must not be a hearing on Monday and then a possible vote on the nominee a day or two after.
Professor Christine Blasey Ford says Kavanaugh physically and sexually assaulted her at a party more than 30 years ago. Kavanaugh has denied her allegations. They are both invited to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee, though Chairman Chuck Grassley says Ford has not confirmed multiple email requests.
So it kind of raises the question, do they want to come to the public hearing or not?
Grassley says only Ford and Kavanaugh would testify. Democrats say that is not enough. In a statement, Senator Dianne Feinstein observed that there were a number of witnesses at the Anita Hill hearings during the confirmation process for Justice Clarence Thomas in 1991. Feinstein is calling for more outside witnesses, while some Republicans say Democrats are trying to run out the clock until the midterms.
They sat on this information for nearly 7 weeks. 7 weeks.
That delay happened as Ford deliberated whether to go public with her story. Now that she has, Washington wonders when she will tell it next. In Washington, I'm Emily Schmidt.
Republican leaders say they are willing to offer Ford the option to meet with the committee behind closed doors. Even after Hurricane Florence dissipates, the dangers will be far from over. That story's still ahead.
There are warmer temps to end the forecast, but how long will that last? Also, a rain chance in the forecast as well. All that and more in your 7-day, but first, here is a look at your local stocks of interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
I love PBS because at the heart of everything PBS does is education.
I use PBS not only in my home, but also in my classroom.
It's kind of the idea of being the great equalizer for learning and for education.
I'm a lifelong learner, and PBS has always been part of that journey for me.
I love PBS because PBS supports teachers.
They know what works for kids and what's best for kids, and that's why I love PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TVs play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Officials are warning people the disaster of Hurricane Florence is far from over. Omar Menez is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where people have been evacuated.
First the wind, then the rain, and flooding. Now tornadoes. That's the latest devastation brought on by Hurricane Florence, this time in Virginia, where at least 6 different counties were affected by multiple tornadoes Monday.
Unfortunately, here at Old Dominion Flooring, one employee is confirmed deceased, and we have our crews on scene that will be working to recover the body here shortly.
As Florence moves northeast and dissipates, it will drop a final few inches of rain in the already waterlogged region.
We've been preparing for and living through Hurricane Florence for more than a week now. But this remains a significant disaster that affects much of our state.
Once the rain stops, the water will continue to rush downstream, causing catastrophic and historic river flooding, according to the National Weather Service.
The next few days will be long ones as the flooding continues.
And one of the biggest concerns, this river, which is actually parts Interstate 40 and I-95, major arteries through the state that have been cut off, and officials can't say exactly for how long until the water goes away. From Fayetteville, North Carolina, I'm Omar Jimenez.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm your forecaster, Cameron Sliga, and we saw some of that post-tropical Florence move through yesterday. That's what brought the rainfall, but that is not the case today. As we see 84 out there with some clouds and humidity with a wind of 5 miles per hour coming from the west, and we'll continue to see humidity throughout the night, and we see temperatures right now in Athens 83, down to Ripley 83. Up in Columbus is 87, and this is an unseasonably warm time of the year with average temperatures around in the mid-70s. As we see dew points, 66 in New Lexington, 65 in Athens. These are very humid air out there with some partly cloudy skies. And we see the almanac 84 today. The normal is 77, so it is very unseasonably warm with a low of 65 and a normal of 50, which is also warmer than normal. As we see the day planner for tonight, 6 p.m. at 9 p.m. we see 74 with few clouds, and then we'll start to see some fog move into the area around midnight with the temperature of 69. And by 6 a.m. tomorrow, we'll still be seeing some fog with a temperature of 65. And the overnight temperatures we see in New Lexington, 64, 64 in Athens, 60 for most of the viewing area with a warm temperature of 66 down in Ironton with fog in the southern part of the viewing area. And we see tomorrow even warmer with 86, fog early, and that'll start to wear away as the sun starts to come out. And it'll be humid as well with dew points in the upper 60s and the lower 70s. And we'll have a calm wind, so it'll be a very warm day outside. So plan ahead with water and anything else to keep you hydrated. And we'll see the temperatures tomorrow in the upper 80s down by Ripley and Ironton, and up by Newark and Columbus. We'll see temperatures into the mid to upper 80s. We'll see your morning planner. We'll see fog at 6 a.m. At 8 a.m. we'll see fog with 68 temperature. 10 a.m. 72 degrees, partly cloudy, and by noon we'll be all the way up by 80 with partly cloudy skies. As we see your 7-day forecast, you can see this very warm trend, unseasonably warmer. And Saturday we'll start to see some cooling with a cold front. There is a rain chance on Friday as this cold front starts to move through, and then we will see a chance on Sunday of some early showers as that front is still sticking around. And by Monday, we will start to see 76 and 81 with some rain in the forecast, and we'll start to see temperatures start to cool down.
Thanks, Cameron. I'm Samantha Wiesnath, and today in sports, the Columbus Blue Jackets host their second preseason game tonight, hoping to bounce back after last night's tired performance. Plus, we have some insight from OU's head football coach, Frank Solich, looking ahead to what the Bobcats should expect in their game next weekend. And here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
This fall is going fast, but don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop, and every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall. Which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you.
And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage.
So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you. Welcome back, I'm Samantha Wiesnath. It's a busy night for Ohio Major League Baseball. Both MLB teams have matchups tonight, and they're both coming off of losses. The Cincinnati Reds suffered a loss last night against the Milwaukee Brewers with a final score of 8-0. The Reds, who are currently last in their division, came into this game off of a 2-1 win against the Chicago Cubs, who are in first place. Cincinnati's momentum was stopped by Christian Yelich of the Brewers, who made history becoming the first Major League player to hit for the cycle twice in one season against the same team.
These two teams will face off again tonight in Milwaukee at 7:40. And sticking with baseball, the Cleveland Indians start a 3-game series with the Chicago White Sox at home in Cleveland tonight at 7:10. Corey Kluber will be on the mound for the first time since September 9th when the Indians took on Tampa Bay. In that game, Kluber gave up 4 runs and 5 hits in less than 2 innings. He does have a history of doing well against the White Sox. His last start against Chicago was on June 20th, where he pitched 7 scoreless innings and the Indians won 12-0. The Indians aren't the only team that's welcoming Chicagoans tonight. The Columbus Blue Jackets have their second preseason game at home against the Chicago Blackhawks at 7 o'clock. Tonight is the Hawks' first game of the season, and the Blue Jackets are coming off of a 4-1 loss last night against Buffalo. The Blue Jackets' only goal came from David Savard in the second period. Columbus coach John Tortorella said that he is concerned for the first 2 games in the preseason after players went through demanding training camps. And moving on to OU athletics, it's been pretty quiet here in Athens today. The women's golf team is out in Yorktown, Indiana, finishing up their second day of the 2018 Cardinal Classic hosted by Ball State. Yesterday, the team finished in a tie for 10th place. After day 1, senior Nicole Smiley was tied for 13th place and fellow senior Emily Hughes tied for 25th. The results from day 2 look a little different. Ohio moved up 1 position and finished 9th overall. Emily Hughes placed 8th and Nicole Smiley finished in 15th. The Ohio University football team is looking ahead to their road game on Saturday. Head coach Frank Solich gave his thoughts on their upcoming matchup against University of Cincinnati.
Got a really good football team. As you look at them, you know, they're 3-0. They've dominated in the games that they've played. They've got a great quarterback, so obviously that's huge in establishing an offense.
And there's even more OU teams looking ahead to games later this week. On Thursday, the women's volleyball team is hosting Kent State, and the women's field hockey team will face off at home against UC Davis. On Friday, the Ohio women's soccer team travels to Central Michigan, and looking ahead, both the men's and women's cross-country teams will be in Akron on September 29th for the All-Ohio Championships. That's all for sports. I'm Samantha Wiesneth. Back to you, Caitlin.
All right, thanks, Samantha. The Emmy Awards had its fair share of surprises last night, but it wasn't the monologue, the song, or the winners that surprised almost everyone. Take a look at this. Glenn Wise picked up more than just an Emmy. He also won a fiancé. The director, who collected an award for directing a variety special, proposed to his girlfriend while on stage, and she said yes. The entire crowd erupted with applause. Some in the audience even broke out in tears.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm your forecaster, Cameron Saliga. It has been a warmer day today than yesterday as we start to see this high-pressure system build into the area. And this high-pressure system will actually continue to build into the area until around Friday with temperatures in the upper 80s. And there's a chance of showers and a crack of thunder possible on Friday as there is a cold front moving through overnight. As we see, that cold front has moved through on into Saturday with a temperature of 75 your high. And by Sunday, we'll see a chance of showers with a high of 74. And then we'll start to see on Monday and into Tuesday a high-pressure system starting to build back into the area with a slight chance of seeing a shower or two here and there. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Cameron. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Caitlin Coolidge. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.